What the hell just happened at the end of chapter 130 of Chainsaw Man? This latest chapter is yet another short one, but like with the others, they are full of action and things just happening every single page. I do also think that Fujimoto has definitely outdone himself with the art this time, reminding us how much of a goat Fujimoto is at drawing action sequences. It's on full display in this chapter, because we pick up right at the end of the previous chapter, where fake Chainsaw Man arrived and told Denji that he needs to stay away from the Falling Devil and this weird slug looking monster until sunrise in order to be safe. Denji makes it out with Asa and they end up actually stealing a motorcycle in order to get away from these tentacles from this slug monster. Well, Denji doesn't know how to ride one, so essentially what Asa does is turn the motorcycle into this like Chainsaw Man mobile that allows Denji to freely control it, seemingly like it's like an extension of his own body or something. And that's where we pick up here with Denji and Asa fleeing from these countless tentacles from this monster, or I guess I should stop saying monster because it is implied to be some form of devil. I wasn't necessarily sure at first because I really just couldn't get a grip on what this devil could possibly be, like what fear this devil could possibly represent. But we do see some of its abilities in this chapter, so it kind of gives us a much better idea on what it could possibly be. As Asa and Denji are kind of arguing back and forth a little bit about whether or not to believe the fake Chainsaw Man's plan, their conversation gets immediately put to the side because they see this enormous building floating right in front of them, and it's revealed that it's actually the Falling Devil that's chucking it right in their direction. So in the next page you see this like insane explosion, and this just reminds me how awesome Fujimoto is at drawing architecture and just overall action scenes. We kind of forget that that's like one of the key things that he's the best at, aside from building characters and telling an interesting story, of course. But nonetheless, it also seems like this worm devil is kind of freaking out because it can't get to Asa and Denji, and it makes sense because it was made pretty clear in the previous chapter that if this devil doesn't consume Asa, then it has the Falling Devil to worry about, because the Falling Devil has absolutely no tolerance for anyone that doesn't finish their plate. And we saw that the Falling Devil was kind of feeding all of these regular humans to this devil as kind of an appetizer, and Asa was supposed to be the main course. So seemingly being in fear of the Falling Devil, this worm-like devil appears right in front of Denji and Asa, kind of reforming its body out of one of its tentacles, and even turns one of its limbs into a giant hammer. Now after I saw this is kind of when the wheels started turning in my head, trying to figure out what this devil could possibly represent. And I think a fitting title for it might be the Change Devil or the Metamorphosis Devil. I think Metamorphosis Devil might even make more sense because, for one, it's somehow able to create all these different limbs and also manifest its own body out of these limbs and apparently change its own limbs to create various weapons. And you kind of couple that all in with the fact that it kind of seems like this larva, like it's something that's going to eventually form some sort of cocoon once it gets enough nourishment and transform into another devil. I think it would be pretty fitting of a Metamorphosis Devil to have various forms that it can kind of change into and become stronger and more terrifying. I mean, after all, in school, when you learn about metamorphosis, it's usually hand in hand with learning about how caterpillars form their own cocoons and transform into these butterflies. I could definitely see Fujimoto here kind of planning a moth kaiju kind of final boss battle with this worm monster after it's unable to defeat Asa and Denji in its current form. This would also kind of neatly tie into the whole theme of this small arc that we've been experiencing with the Falling Devil, where Asa's true emotions and true feelings have finally been brought to light, and we're seeing her now with how she's trusting Chainsaw Man and kind of teaming up with him, that she's slowly starting to change as a person, where at the beginning of this arc she didn't see a reason to life anymore. She just thought she would be better off just not existing anymore after this point. Well, after talking with Chainsaw Man and escaping seemingly this pocket of hell with him, she kind of has this epiphany that if a garbage person like Denji can have some motivation to keep moving forward, then why shouldn't she? And it's kind of given her this new motivation to keep moving forward, and seems like a very vital character arc for her that's gonna help mold the person that she'll become by the end of part 2. If we know one thing, we know that Fujimoto is big on character development and using the plot of the story in order to create this symbolism that kind of represents the character's growth as the story goes along. Think about the scene with Denji and Rize. When it got to the end of their fight, Denji actually ended up defeating Rize by completely soaking her with water and sending both of themselves into the ocean, ocean or a lake, whatever it is, and he says a line to her along the lines of, "You taught me how to swim," kind of calling back to much earlier when she literally did teach him how to swim because he didn't know how to swim prior. But this kind of represented Denji learning from Rize how to appreciate other things in life and want more out of his life. So you could take that line as her literally teaching him how to swim and also opening his eyes to other things in life to kind of yearn for besides just the bare minimum. Or at least that was kind of my interpretation of that whole sequence. Everyone kind of takes away something different from that whole arc between Denji and Rize. Speaking of that arc, this is definitely giving me some hardcore Rize and the Tsunami Devil versus Denji riding Beam vibes, because there's just so much chaos going around, so much incredible art, and not too many words being said. Like in this whole entire chapter, there's probably like 5 or 6 speech bubbles, but the scenes themselves just say so much. And that's what I really appreciate about Fujimoto's art and the way he kind of shows and doesn't tell sometimes. I think Fujimoto's doing a very similar thing here with this whole arc with the Falling Devil and this Larva Devil or whatever it is, and it's been made pretty apparent that this potential Metamorphosis Devil is not going away anytime soon, because after the Falling Devil drops this massive building on Denji and Asa, and we get this amazing sequence where we have them kind of bursting out of the explosion like some kind of action heroes or something, they're brought face to face with a massive version of this devil, seemingly riding right into this gaping mouth that's on its stomach. I would also like to have it cleared up exactly what's happening between Denji and this like Chainsaw Man mobile, because I said earlier that I wasn't sure if it was Denji kind of merging with this thing and controlling it as if it were like an extension of his own body, or if it's actually Asa controlling it. It doesn't seem like it's Asa controlling it because she has her eyes closed like half the time, but I think it's actually a very important detail because this means that Asa is currently taking possession of Chainsaw Man, much like how Yoru wanted, but Yoru is unable to take over her body and actually utilize Chainsaw Man as a weapon like she's wanted to, assumingly because Asa's so scared at the moment that Yoru can't take over her body at all. So I think it's kind of crazy that Yoru's so close to getting everything that she wanted in this whole sequence and has absolutely no ability to take advantage of the situation. So you got my prediction here. I think that this devil is actually the Metamorphosis Devil, kind of taking the form of this larva that's eventually going to transform into this like moth kaiju or something, but that might just sound completely insane. So I definitely want to hear what you guys think this new devil is in the comments below. Let me know what you thought about the chapter in general. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and also join my Discord server if you feel like it by clicking the link in the description below, and possibly make a new friend today. You know, we have a bunch of Chainsaw Man fans and other fans of other anime and manga and stuff in that server, so I'm sure you'll find somebody that has common interest with you. That is it for today's video though, guys. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.